person right aligned, and we've got Paul Howell from HDY in Birmingham today, in the heart of Digbeth, the creative quarter of the second city. Paul, while we're getting started and letting people in, can you take us back to when design really first played a role in your life, and when creativity sort of kicked in, and when you sort of ran with that and thought that that could be could lead to a career or into education, and just take us through that journey in the early days, if you can.
Yeah, I think it's a weird one, because like I think my passion for creative art started like at a really young age, and I think it's down to my mum really. She used to just like throw me like the back of cereal boxes with pens just to shut me up and put me in a corner just to keep me away from her, because I was a bit of a mad child, if I'm honest, like a bit like over the top, like screaming, shouting, wrecking the place, and that was the only thing that really did calm me down and like just let me focus and express myself in different ways. And all the way through school, secondary school, high school, college, I just had a massive passion for art. Like every class I went into, I just never listened to the teachers. I would just sit there and draw pictures and just act a maggot really. But I loved it. I loved everything about it. And then I think the way I was brought up in Ireland was that you get a trade when you finish school. That was it. You become a brickie, you become a chippy or an electrician, or you find a trade and that's what you do. So I started off actually as an apprentice brickie when I left school. And I think it was literally just before the recession hit, and I had one of my friends ask me, oh, do you fancy coming to an open day for a university in Dublin called Colosh Dooley? And I was like, well, I've got nothing. And they were like, oh, just bring like 2 pictures with you or something like that, just to give them a flavour. And I went for this interview, and it went really well, actually. They offered me 2 courses. They offered me an animation course and a graphics course. So I decided to do like the graphics, and like I started off, I did a HND in graphic design, and I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it. It was like, I hated school. I hated everything about it, but this was different. This was me focusing on my love, my passion, and just being like really creative and drawing pictures all day and just doing really cool shit. And then I remember that they had a link with the University of Wolverhampton where I could come over and do my final year studies. So then I just took the gamble, and I said, you know what, I'm getting out of Ireland. Decided to leave, went over, never looked back. Met some really, really cool people. I had like an amazing lecturers as well, like Jeff Leake. I think he's on the call, so like sub Jeff. But yeah, he was absolutely amazing, and like he used to like really just help me like tunnel vision and just get myself going and understand exactly where I wanted to go with it. And I think early on when I was in uni, I realized that I actually did have a skill for it. I was winning competitions. I won what was it called? It was like this program that Wolves done called Speed. And basically they give you like business grants to start up your own companies. And as a result, myself and 2 of my friends started up this company called Deadly Graphics. And we did a lot of cool stuff for like startup businesses and that. And this was all during my second year of university and through my final year. And then lo and behold, me being really naive in terms of business and how businesses work, I got absolutely shafted by a client who put me in like 60 grand's worth of debt. And I had to like work like every single weekend for, I think, about 2 years with the company that I owed the money to pay them off, just because like it was a horrible experience. But yeah, but like I realized then that I didn't know everything about business. I didn't know everything about like the industry or design and that. And then from then I went and started my career really.
Wow. Well, that's eventful, to say the least.
It's a bit mad. It's not like your typical, oh, I went to uni and did this. It was a bit of a roller coaster. I was a bit of a problem child. I didn't know what I wanted to do, where I wanted to be, but I always found that creativity was the one thing that like kind of grounded me and cemented me and like just leveled me out and added that calmness to my mental health really. So it's been a good experience.
Yeah, so when you moved to England, so you went to Wolverhampton University.
Yeah.
What was what was your experience of design and creativity at university? Because I've had many of these conversations, and sometimes that's been a little bit of an issue where people have stepped in and not felt necessarily prepared for the industry. They've not necessarily gained.
100%.
Yeah, they might
Yes.
gain knowledge of software, but maybe not just the skills that they need as a person to sort of communicate to, to
Yeah.
etc.
I remember the first step, like the first week of joining Wolves Uni was a massive shock to me, because it was the way the course that was set up was just completely different to how it was done in Dublin. It was a lot more in depth. There was a lot more classes, more like, it was a lot more for me to handle. It felt a little bit more like skill, but then there was like a nice balance of it. And I felt a little bit out of my depth, because when I first started, I could barely use a computer. I was like one finger typing, and it was just like moving a mouse around. It used to take me days to write up shit, and it just done me nothing. But I finally, like with the help of Jeff, especially Jeff and the other lecturers there, they really made that transition really good for me, and it was quite refreshing, quite eye-opening in terms of not just the industry, but the whole history behind it. And because the English like way of teaching is just completely different to the Irish way, and it was just, I just felt like this is it. This is what I wanted to do. This is what I wanted to be, and I put everything I possibly had into it. Like my mates would be going out getting hammered every night of the week, like when I was in uni, and I'd be sitting at home putting together sketchbooks and like just constantly trying to design and like hone in on my craft and make it better. And yeah, it was mad, but I loved it. And at the end of the day as well, like I moved to a different country. I had no money. If I didn't make it work, I'd have to go back into the same old stuff and get a trade. And for me, that was just not a thing. I had to continue with it.
Did you think that was a bit of an all or nothing then? That was, you had to just go, all the cards on the table, because that was the scary part, is the reality of going back to something that you weren't connected with, that might have led to who knows what.
100%, 100%. I think I had the fear, like, because I was constantly getting called by home saying, oh, it's a bit too much money, maybe you should come home and get a trade. And I was like, no, I'm not going back to do it, because the recession hit back then as well, and all my friends were out of work, and they were all on the dole. They were all, every day they were going playing mini golf or like drinking or just being lads and that, and I just didn't want it. It's, for me, I felt like I've moved on, and I was like adamant that I was going to make something of it. And I've always had that grit inside me, that pure determination to make, like, if I believe in something, I don't give up on it.
Yeah. What were the dates roughly that you came to left Ireland, Paul? What was it?
I moved over 2007. So the end of 2007, and then like, so that the financial crisis was what, 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
It was just, it was just mad.
It wasn't that long ago then, was it really?
No.
I asked that because I've spoken to a lot of people during these events that have faced maybe cultural differences where their parents or their family expect them to go into different lines of work. And it's quite, always astounds me how much people think creative is maybe a bit more of a jolly for a little bit. It's a bit of a pastime that you do. It's not a career. And to hear that from your background, that's the first time I've heard it from that. Yeah. It's I don't know how you break that down, but it goes to show perseverance that what you've done.
I used to be told that all the time. You'll never make any money drawing pictures. You never make any money doing this. You never make any money doing that. And now I'm better off than all of them. Yeah. Fingers up.
Yeah, well, I think that's the case of it's that self-belief, isn't it? Which is hard in this industry. I think a lot of us face self-doubt or imposter syndrome, different issues. So it's a case of sort of sticking to your guns and believing in what you do, isn't it? You hear us all right there, Paul?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, mate, I think we just had a bit of interference there. Yeah, what I was saying is that I think through a lot of creative industries or a lot of creative people, we face imposter syndrome or self-doubt, and it's quite easy for that to creep in to sort of then lead you towards something else because of a safety net, or you might feel a bit more comfortable doing things that aren't so exposing, so to speak. So what was when you stepped into the industry then, Paul, what was your career ladder look like until where you are now?
So when I first stepped in, I think my very first job within a company was for Brinton's Carpets. If you've ever heard of them in Kidderminster, we've got a load of
Yeah,
noise.
I was just unmuting them now, mate. There we go.
Yeah, so I started off working for a carpet company called Brinton's, who are like these royal warrant like carpet company that supply like carpets for all like public spaces, royalty, cruise liners, stuff like that. And it was an entry level role. So like I was there as like they called it a global graphic designer, and it was pretty cool. Like I'm not gonna lie, like it was a good eye opener for me in terms of understanding like how marketing departments work and how quickly turnaround of jobs are and stuff like that. But then it also kind of like opened my eyes a little bit that like in certain companies it's just it's a cycle, isn't it? It's like you do the same stuff every single year, and by the time you got the one project done, you're back on it for the next year. And it was just, I felt a little bit weird about it, a little bit lost. And then when we were doing like big campaigns, we'd get like the agencies in. So like we used to get an agency called Connect, who are now ITG. And I remember like they used to come in and I used to love looking at the work they did. It was absolutely immense. And I was like, what? That's what I want to do. I don't want to be just stuck in a marketing department on my own when no one else understands design. And I'm just like lost. And I wanted to learn. And I've always had that hunger to learn and develop and just keep striving forward. So then Brinton's went into a massive buyout. They were about to dissolve the company, and then they were making like several different departments redundant. Mine was one of the departments that was being made redundant. So I was in conversations then with Connect, and the only role they had at the time was a creative art worker, and that for me was my entry level then into like the creative agency. So like I loved it. Like I went in as a creative art worker, and I was sitting there with like old lads that was like I was in an office with like my dad. It was like, honestly, it was really fun. It was, but then I realized straight away that I needed to be in creative. So my boss, like the creative director at the time, was Stu Perry, who's like probably the best creative I've ever worked with in my life. He's just pure genius and at everything. He's just he'd be nice to hear that, but he's absolutely like genius. And I used to stay back every single day and pester him for creative work. And I used to I used to get through all the artwork as quick as possible, just so I could go in and say, give me something creative to do, give me a brochure to do, give me an ad, give me this, give me that. And then as a result, he left Connect and started up with another lad, Harley Davidson account with Big Communications, and took me with him. Wow. And that was absolutely incredible, because then it was like my first proper like sort of design role, and I was heavily involved in all the planning for the shoots, designing the brochures, amongst all the other clients that we had as well, like with Big Communications. But yeah, it was brilliant. Like the stuff I learned, and that was incredible. But then like obviously over time it gets a little bit stale, maybe like their vision where it wasn't really aligned in terms of what I wanted and where I wanted to go, and I felt a little bit lost. And I always had the ambition for going to work for the best, and I wanted to like work with the best clients, the biggest clients. And then obviously then I went to McCann, and I worked there for, I think I was in McCann for like 4.5 years, maybe 5 years. And that was probably one of the best experiences that I've ever had. Well, best and not best, but like it probably in terms of creativity and what I've learned, it was probably the best thing I've ever done. Like literally the guys that work there from a creative standpoint are like the cleverest that I've ever come encounter with. Like they're absolute just pure genius across the board, from everything from design, art direction, copywriting, digital, the whole lot. They just had it. And it was just like it was a tough place to work because a lot is expected of you. Big clients big clients require a lot of input from people, and I think the expectations of the quality of the work is like above anything you're ever exposed to. So like you quickly learn how to do things quickly, how to make sure that like everything's done like based on like insight and stuff like that. So like you're not just doing stuff for the sake of doing it, thinking, oh yeah, it looks nice, so like I've just done that. It's like everything has to be proper cemented, properly thought out, has to have a big idea behind it, because they're all about winning massive awards, aren't they? So it's like, it's cool, man. It was really good. Like I learned shitload. I met friends for life, and I'm still in conversations with the guys that I work with there, because like that, they act like mentors to me as well. So I love it. I loved it. And then where'd I go from there? From there, I went to Green Room, and that was more of a like a retail experiential type of company. And like with that, I worked with the likes of Puma, Timberland, Solomon. That was fucking awesome. Like I'll be honest with you, because just like being able to travel as well, like going to like Amsterdam and going to like Solomon headquarters in Annecy in France and stuff like that, and being the lead designer there as well, like that was just amazing, having all that responsibility, small team, but doing some really, really cool, immersive, like just amazing work. And then I think then when COVID happened, I think, I don't want to diss the company, but true colours of some people came out, and as a result, a lot of people left, and I was the one of the people that just had enough, and I decided to leave. And when I decided to leave, I was in conversations then with Angel, who's one of the founders here of HDY, and it just seemed like the perfect time for me to move. And then haven't looked back since. Still here. HDY.
I was going to say, there aren't many more places left for you to go, Paul.
No, there's not. I've been around the bushes.
You better keep hold of this one. Would you say a character trait of yours, looking through, I mean, that's quite a short timeline, isn't it, that you've gone through those places?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a case of being, do you see yourself as like seizing the moment and just sort of go into, you know, the next progression because of excitement, because of that creative flair, or is it a case of just constantly, you know, wanting to push yourself to the next level? And like you said throughout that you wanted to work with the best. Is that where you feel like you're at now? Like
I think,
got to say that sort of.
I think it started off like that. It started off with me always wanting to work with the best, learn from the best, and be the best. And I absolutely loved that like drive that I had to do that. I then started to realize after time, like with certain places, you get kind of pigeonholed, and it's like it was like I constantly had a ball and chain around my ankles, not letting me express my creative flair in the way that I wanted to. Well, not that actually in the way that I wanted, but just not being given the opportunity to actually fully show what I could do. And I just found that really, really frustrating. And I think that was just down to probably a number of reasons of hierarchy and stuff like that, and not stepping on people's toes and that. Because the bigger you are, the harder it is. Like you normally just get like sectioned off unless you're at a top position. Whereas I felt from day one being at HDY, like as soon as I came in, there was 3 people in creative, and it was like, what do you want to do with the department, Paul? And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah. They were like, listen, it's up to you, mate. You tell us what you want to do and do it and make it happen. And I was like, sweet. And since then, we've gone from when I first started having a team of 3 people to a team of 15 now. And we're still recruiting another like 4 or 5. So I reckon by Christmas, in creative alone, we'll have over 20 people. And that's purely down to me having a vision. The company, like HDY, believing in me, especially like the founders, Ed and Angel, and also the rest of the team, like from all the different territories, and just supporting me and let me actually do it. And as a result, we're going strength from strength from strength. And it's not just from me, it's from everyone that we brought into the business. Everyone shares that same true like grit, determination, aspiration to be bigger than what they've ever been. And we've all come from the big agencies. Everyone that's here comes from all these agencies that I've been talking about. And it's like, we just feel like that this is like, it's our time. We're part of a growing agency, a new agency. And it's amazing to be on that journey with the individuals as well. We're not like, it's not like you go into a company where they've already established themselves. We're making it happen. We're helping the company grow. We're putting our impact on it and a name on it. And I think that for me, that is far more rewarding than winning any sort of award or anything like that out there. I absolutely love it. I love my team. I love like really helping them like develop and pushing them on forward and stuff like that. And to see development in them is massive. And then when you win as well, when you win big pitches against these big ad agencies, little HDY of 40 people going up against an advertising network of 25,000 people, mental, mate, mental. It's just like the buzz, it's just like crazy. The pressure, the excitement, everything about it, it's just like who I am. It's what I'm about. It's what I like, and it's what the agency is about. Like we're just like, I always say this. I'll probably get told off for saying this, but we're like an office of misfits. I just like to Ed's like book of like be more kid, and like we all embracing that. We're all about like being fun, having a laugh, but fucking working hard as well, and making sure that we're doing the best work possible for our clients. And we're growing rapidly. The work is massively improving day by day by day. And that's down to us having more belief in ourselves, getting better specialists involved, and also upskilling everyone as well. So you like what we spoke about before, like not just having people that are just focused on doing design and that's what they do. We have people in the agency that can do a bit of everything. And I encourage that as well. Like, I don't want to just have an art director who just art directs and comes up with a concept. I want an art director to come in and come up with the concept, design the concept, sell the concept, like artwork, do everything to do with it. Because I think that's the whole, that's why we're in the game. We're not in it just to like do this, do that. Like, we all get involved. It's teamwork, isn't it?
100%, yeah. Yeah, no, I really want to talk about HDY shortly, but I just wanted to sort of...
Oh, sorry, I jumped in.
I just wanted to rewind ever so slightly to how you've got that mentality, what you've got now. So going from that potentially troublemaking kid with no sort of avenue into creativity to sort of finding your way into the industry through the university. Those steps that you've gone from in a marketing team where you're feeling like that's not really what you want to do quite quickly, to being a creative, to then maybe being pigeonholed and then getting to mechanic. What is it easy, or can you pinpoint what it is that then those trigger points throughout that has made you sort of get to where you are now and think, this is who I am, this is what I want to be, I want to be part of this team, I want to push it forward, I want to be happy to openly say I'm a misfit, I'm a punk, I'm a rebel, all those sorts of things that we, creative people, when they are allowed to release that, are quite happy to openly believe in that. But that's quite a shift from being somebody that was never really able to access creativity in many ways before. Can you signify points along that route that you think, it was that person, like you said about Stu Perry, that sort of really mentored you? Was there other things like at McCann that was just a case of, God, this is vast, I need to now understand how to navigate being a small cog in a big machine across a worldwide network of companies, to then going into a smaller organisation that, like you said, showing their true characters when COVID hit? Do you see what I mean? Is there things that then really painted that character that allows you to be who you are now?
Yeah, I think, I'm a big people person. I always have been. I've seen my parents struggle their whole lives in jobs, trying to earn like ends meet and trying to pay for a mortgage that they can never afford and stuff like that. And I've always seen them being unhappy in their roles. They've always hated their jobs everywhere they've ever done it, but they work day and night. And I think I get my kind of work ethos from them in terms of like how I work. But I quickly realized that, like, I think in order for you to enjoy what you do, you've got to enjoy the people that you work with, and you've got to be respected, and you've got to have the trust, and people have just got to believe in you. And I just felt the bigger the company was, the less I wouldn't say the less belief they had in you, but I just felt like you were more pigeonholed and not actually allowed to do what you wanted to do. And the beauty of it as well, like working with these big companies, was you met so many different creators from all different backgrounds that shared with you their life stories, their struggles, what it's like working for all these different companies. And you realize that the grass is never greener on the other side. But I've always been looking for that grass. I've always been looking for that greener grass, and I found some behind me on the wall. But yeah, I'm big into like mental health and supporting people and stuff like that. And I just found along the way, I probably wasn't getting it's bad to say that I wasn't getting support, because I was getting supported a lot, but I just feel like I wasn't getting the support I needed for me to develop my career. That like, I never had a career plan laid out in any role that I've ever been in. And anytime I asked for it, kind of just got brushed underneath the table. And for me, that was really important, because like, I knew what I wanted to be, but I just felt like that people were just not letting me, well, people were restricting me from being it. And then when I came here, it just became apparent that, Jesus Christ, man, this is like an actual nice place to work, and they're actually believing me. And I think that's the thing, is like, I just want people to believe. I demonstrate what I can do, like through like the work that I do, and like, I'm a safe pair of hands, and I always deliver and stuff like that. But to put proper belief in someone and allow them to make mistakes and allow them to grow a team and stuff like that, for me, is brilliant. I loved it.
Yeah, it seems
So
like a modern way of working, doesn't it? It sort of seems obvious, doesn't it, when you say it? You know, it sort of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say there's like certain triggers or anything. It's just, I think it's just about feeling right mentally as well in my head, because I've struggled with mental health my whole life, and I just feel like there comes a time. The way I look at it is, you've only got one life, and when you're in an organization, some organizations, you're only a number, aren't you? Like, in reality, a business is business. So you're a number, you're a turning point in order to facilitate them earning funds. This is the first place that I've truly worked that I don't feel like a number. I feel like a person. And
it's
that's what I like it.
Really refreshing to hear, because I think there's a tendency, and again, one of the reasons I always ask about the education sort of side and the university and feeling prepared is that I've spoken to a lot of people that feel, well, they've been taught that the only way to gauge success in design is to work for the super huge agencies, so like, the Pentagons and that, or the agencies in the past that might have been that size, and how sort of negative that is on you mentally to think, to sort of teach somebody that, because that shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't be told the only way to sort of say that you've got any worth in this industry is because you work for the biggest company in it. It's quite a negative way of giving people, to make them sort of feel motivated to step into it. So it just seems like a strange way of doing things. But moving on to HDY, is it, for anybody that doesn't know the agency, can you sort of summarise, or is it possible to summarise what you guys do in short before we go into more depth?
Oh God, here we go. Put on the spot here. So I think that HDY, like, for those of you that don't know what it stands for, is basically how do you, and it's basically what that means is we start off with a question. So like, how do we challenge businesses to ask, like, how do we ask businesses all the right questions, helping them to create impactful content that makes a difference, basically. And that's what we do. And it's everything that we do is driven around like proper insight, proper strategy, channel first approach as well. So like, because we're a digital marketing agency, like, first of all, we're full service, which is great for such a small content marketing agency, and we're focused on driving like amazing results to ensure businesses stand out and grow. And I think it's difficult for me to say exactly what we do, because we do a bit of everything. It's like, for a creative person, it's probably a dream place to work at the minute, because you do everything from, like, we could be doing branding projects, we could be doing global campaigns, we could be doing film, we could be doing TV, radio, influencer, we could be doing like paid social campaigns, organic social campaigns, web development, strategy, like everything, like events, the whole lot. It's just, I think because our approach and how we do it, like, we tackle a brief as it comes in. Like, the briefs don't come in and say, oh, we just want an ad, or oh, we want this. We'll dissect the brief and put it through like a really cool process that will identify the best ways of bringing that to the market, but using a channel first approach to ensure that they get the best outcome from it. So we kind of do everything, mate. It's great.
Could you have teams working with different clients at different times then? So say, from the influence or the events, could that be working on different projects compared to the creative and the marketing?
Yeah, so like everyone could be working on various different projects at once, and that's across the board. I think one of the things that we try to do at HDY is we don't have any walls. I know there's a wall behind me, but we don't have any walls between territories and stuff like that. We act like as a conduit. So in terms of whatever the brief is, the brief will be the conduit, and we'll just get the right people from whatever department that they're in order to facilitate that and make sure it's the best it can possibly be. And that could be having an art worker, having someone from social, it could be having someone from digital. It doesn't matter. Like, we're all a team. It's not separated in terms of, oh, you're just creative, you just do this, or your strategy, you just do that. Like, we're a proper team. We work on multiple projects at once. And because we're small, we kind of have to. And we've got a really, really cool client base now that is growing rapidly, which is also very exciting, but it's good, man.
Yeah. Because when I was looking through the site, like I was saying to you before we came on live, I noticed a few sort of keywords. Obviously, to explain to clients, a lot of us sort of use the same sort of phrases and terminology, but there was a lot of around collaboration, curiosity, seemed a big thing, connecting the dots, and then the Be More Kid. Is that something that's just underlying throughout the team, throughout the company as a whole? They're sort of, they're not things that you necessarily have to force down people's throats, but they're more of a philosophy, aren't they, the way that the company is run?
Yeah, I think, 100%. I think Ed's book, Be More Kid, really encompasses all of it, whether we're being playful, passionate, present, and being purposeful. I think everyone within the company shares exactly the same values. We're all mad, we're all mad, which is great. We all love a laugh. We all have our areas of specialties that we can really bring to the game and really enhance our creative offering. But I think the good thing, the key thing that we all have, that we all share, is respect. We all respect each other. We all trust each other, and we all help each other get the work done and out the door. And that's very difficult to have in most agencies, where like everyone within the business respects each other and trusts each other. I think you'll find in a lot of companies where it's quite segregated in terms of like, no, you're that way, you're in that office, you're sitting there, you're there. Like, we're not about that. We class ourselves as the family away from our family, and we're true believers in that we've got each other's back, and we do everything in our power in order to make sure the job gets done.
No, it sounds amazing, because I think it's something that's, you don't really come across it that often. Again, a lot of the time it's easy to say these things, isn't it? It's like having the idea of a studio culture seems to be really, another buzzword at the minute, because you've got a pool table or a football table or something, which it doesn't really mean anything. It's completely hollow, isn't it? Without really having those emotional, humane sort of side of what we do. We're all people. To get the best out of each other, you need to have that respect, or that we're all in it together sort of mentality, don't you? And is that really? Can you reflect that in each of the projects that you do? Do you have and this is probably hard to answer, but do you have more of a set way of working? Do you, when a brief comes in, do you get everybody together to all brainstorm? Do you conceptualize in groups? Or is that just very specific, dependent on the work that's required?
I think it's all dependent on the job that comes in, isn't it? Like, some jobs require a lot more input than others. I think from a creative standpoint, I always try and get all the creative involved, especially like when there's like a big project going on, whether it's a big campaign or a big branding project or whatever it is that like everyone within the department has like joy and love for. But then we also, like, rather than it just being a creative brainstorm, we also do it like where we invite other members of the team, like other specialists, and we'll all get together. We'll have like an hour power session where we just spitballing ideas, and then we'll go away for a little bit, and then we'll come back, and then we'll spitball more ideas. And we've got this really collaborative way of working as well, in terms of like how we build presentations, where like everyone feeds in at once. So it's not like it goes to them, then it goes to them, and then it goes to them. So everyone sees the vision the whole way, like from beginning to the end, which I find is incredible, and it's a really nice way of working, because it speeds things up rapidly, and it just enables us to ensure that we're hitting the ground running, and we're getting it done like straight off, rather than doing it and then it's wrong, doing it again, then it's wrong, doing it again, then it's wrong. So it's just like everyone's in constant contact with everything that we do. Everything's transparent across the business in terms of what projects we're on, the progress that in terms of where we are with projects. And we've got a load of systems in place that that the guys have recently put in that just really help with that, especially with streamlining work and like quality control and the whole lot. So we're small, we're growing. We've got growing pains, but they're good pains to have. And I think we're learning as we go, but we've got all the right people in place in order to drive us forward for our business's vision of domination.
Yeah. But the reward in that process that you've just spoke about must be huge, especially for younger members of the team. Because I remember when I first started out, you could feel like you maybe asked to do a small part of something, but in the grand scheme of it, you never really felt like connected. You know, it's like being the substitute in the FA Cup final, in it, for 5 minutes. You know, you get a winner's medal. It's not quite the same, is it, as someone that's played all the games before. So having that sort of transparency and that openness and that really sort of fluid way of working, and even collaborative within the business, must be, you know, not just with external suppliers or specialists, must be a real boost, not for morale alone, you know, for people wanting to come to work, people wanting to chip in, because that's quite a big thing, isn't it, for juniors or, you know, midweights, is have the confidence to sort of feel like their ideas are valid. And if people are listening, especially from a senior level, that's fantastic.
Oh, mate, 100%. And I think like you can probably, you know yourself, like from back in the day when you were doing pitch presentations and stuff like that, you'd probably only be focusing on one part of it and you wouldn't see the wider agency's input into it. And everyone always thinks like when you do like a pitch presentation that, especially from a creative standpoint, that it's just creative. But no, it's not. It's got everything in it. It's got like all your credentials, you've got strategy, you've got your digital input, everyone is feeding in, and we're quite good at being transparent across the board so everyone can see the level of work that each of us are doing. But also having that transparency enables people to learn and fully engage with who we are as a business and how we take our offering to market, not just about the idea, but like how we activate it, everything else that encompasses it. So it's really cool. And like we're really key as well about getting anyone who has any involvement in the work that they do, present the work. I found like a lot of time in my career that like you never get to present your work. It was always done by the chief creative officer or the creative director, and then it was just fed back to you like the following day, the feedback, whatever. I'm all about getting our guys in front of clients from day one, because otherwise, how are you meant to learn? How are you meant to build your confidence in order to present to these people? Like, especially like if you're planning your career around being a creative and being a leader in creative, how can you gain them skill sets if you're not actually being exposed to presenting? And I think presenting is a massive, scary task for anyone in creative. Like I'm lucky because like I'm Irish. I'll talk to anyone. I don't really care. But like for some people, like that's like massive anxiety. So I think we do a thing where each morning we do like a creative sort of catch up, and I'll have each of the people. I haven't done it in a while, but I normally have like a person, each guy on each day presenting some work that they like, that they've seen, that they enjoy, and stuff like that. Just as like an entry level way of like just boosting their confidence. And as they get better, then I start slowly putting them in front of the clients and that, and then building that up and getting them to present the work. And yeah, it's great, man. It's a really cool culture. It's like I'm really enjoying my job at the minute because it's not just about creative, but it's about nurturing and leading the team and seeing how everyone's developing over the short term, like period of time that I've been here is absolutely amazing. And that's based off like my experience in the past, working with people that I didn't like, but working with people that I did like, and learning from them the things that work with me that seem to be working with my guys. So it's pretty cool, man.
Well, you become the mentor, haven't you, as opposed to the mentee? And it's I think that the idea of developing teams, like developing them as people, is sometimes put secondary over developing like their skill or their ability to churn out work or, you know, to make money.
Yeah.
developing people as humans is really important. And I think that speaking thing it is a daunting thing. And I remember the first time I did it, it went horrifically wrong. But I think what you learn from that, and the way that the confidence you get from that, it's really important. And I think it does translate into people's lives outside of work, which is a massive thing. During these talks, we've spoken to agencies that do similar to what you guys do, but they're all been London based. That stereotypical migration to the capital, it's got a wealth of opportunities and places to work and clients and finance and all the rest of it. Have you found being where you guys are in Birmingham and the Midlands as a whole, giving you a bit of a different angle, a bit of an advantage maybe because it's a bit of a fresh take on it in this region? I know there are some relatively decent sized agencies in the Midlands, but I don't know many that do it like you guys do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think our ambition is always to be the biggest. Well, my ambition is to be content marketing agency outside of London. I've always set for doing that. I've always wanted it. I think everyone, their first point of call that comes into their mind, especially like with big companies, is if you want the best creative work, you go to London. That's where the big agencies are. That's where the talent is. I massively disagree with that because I think you can find talent anywhere. You don't have to move to London to be the best creative in that. I know my career, I've worked with some of the best creatives out there, and they don't go searching for awards. They don't go searching for this. Like, they don't need to, because that's not what they're after. And I feel like that's what London's about. It's not all about that, but I feel like it's just a massive race and battles between each of the agencies who can win the most Cannes Lions and stuff like that. It's like, it looks great, but it's like, I don't think you need to. Like, I think we've as an agency, we've developed a really cool way of working. Like, I'm not going to go into it because obviously give away our little but like, we just get it, and our channel focused approach is brilliant. And like I said, like, we're winning global clients now, like massive clients. I can't say names, but like really, really cool. And we've gone up against all these big guns, and like clients from America, from Paris, from London, and we've won. And we've won based on our knowledge, our skill, our determination, our like personality, and how we approach things. And I think that's brilliant, and that's why we get. I think the beauty of us is we just get it. We don't bullshit. We don't go in and give it the big spiel and stuff like that. Like, we go in with facts. It's all factual based. It's all based on research. It's
Even just from that 40 minutes I've been speaking, it just feels really relatable. That's, it just feels, for me anyway, my level of not, there's no jargon, there's no overly engineered phrases just for the sake of sounding good on a opening paragraph of the website. It's straight to the chase, but it's the proof's in the pudding. You don't need a bookcase of pencils to be validating what you do. Everybody likes awards, everybody likes an ego boost and a night out, but it's not really the purpose of what it feels like. That's not the purpose of why you're in existence. It's to create great work and to sort of serve clients who are after the same what you are.
Yeah, to be honest, mate, I think I get the best thrills in my life from the creative output that I do is based on creative for change. So anything I do that helps raise a cause or promote stuff around mental health and stuff like that, for me, that's far more rewarding than winning any award. To change someone's life, to make someone have a conversation with someone because they may be feeling low at the time, or like we recently did a campaign, like we had a hashtag Hands Against Hatred. Yeah. And it was about like a fella in Birmingham getting attacked for holding his partner's hand. Like, and that's just mental. Yeah. So like for me, I was like, and the guys, Ben and Ed, we were just an angel. We were just spitballing ideas in terms of what we could do. We did a simple little photograph of two of the lads holding hands, two straight lads holding hands, just to like show the people that like, we're there for you. Do you know what I mean? Like we don't support what's happened there whatsoever, but we're here to make a difference, and we're here to try and raise the like awareness of it. And then I did a poster, and Ed like posted it on his LinkedIn, which went mental, like absolutely mental. And it, like I think like the reach on that, we've had like over 20 odd million like, reach on it, and that's literally just from a one-off spin-off. And because we got involved in it, as well as like all the other people that got involved, like I'm not saying we had made this happen, but we had a voice. We used our creative powers in order to facilitate that and help it. And as a result, the person that actually committed the crime handed himself in.
Wow.
And for me, that's fucking amazing. Like, I'm not saying we made that happen, but we obviously had an influence on it, like to make someone feel like they've actually fucked up and that they should do something and like hand themselves in, because no one in Brum was happy about it.
Yeah.
I just feel like if you can use your creative powers to help people, I think it's amazing. And we're all about that here. Like we're heavily involved in charities. We all have side projects that we do around like mental health and other stuff and causes and stuff. And I think that's one of the things I'm really passionate about, and I'll always be passionate about going forward, is like doing stuff around mental health, causing like action against change, and just like really using creativity for good rather than using creativity to sell like cigarettes and shit.
Yeah, but I think that's become a real big movement, hasn't it? And it's individuals or businesses or studios, collectives, whatever can use that for their own, whatever they believe in, which is really powerful, I think, because you know that's something that's the right line exists for equality in my mind. You know, it's the purpose is for me is to give elevate everybody's voice, because I think everybody should be heard.
Yeah,
Relevant of age, ability, or you know, background. But we could, you know, someone down the road might be doing it for environmental reasons or ethical reasons, or you know, diversity or sustainability, all these things. And that's where it's become a really exciting industry, I think, because it doesn't have to be about profit. It's much more about what you believe in and how you use that. And I think if you've got to balance that with being able to afford your lifestyle, and, you know, a mortgage and all the rest of it. But you know, if you can dedicate time to sort of to publicly raising your voice to, you know, fight against the things that you believe in, that's a fantastic place to be in. And I saw that campaign, and you know, it's a very. What really hit me about it is we live in it seems to be, especially with social media and Instagram, it's about like the trends. It's about, you know, design moving on so fast that we're all like, I can't keep up. But that photo of Ed that I saw it was just a photograph. It was just that illustrated everything. You know, it didn't need to have kinetic type on it. It didn't need to have animation or movement or any fancy hashtags. It was just, you know, it was just to stand up for, you know, something that you don't believe in, or stand up against evil, which is the power in that. You know, that is the creative, isn't it? It's it goes to show how strong it can be when executed properly. You know, I think that's a fantastic message to send out to people. It's something that, yeah, I think moving forward, we're going to do a lot more of next year about, you know, mental health issues, self-doubt and imposter syndrome and all those things. So it'd be great to get you involved in that. Moving forward, is there a plan for the agency? It seems to be rolling along pretty sort of happily at the moment. Is it just going with the flow, or is there a strategy in place?
World domination, mate.
Yeah,
That's what.
I'll see you at the top.
No, I think we're on a ride now at the minute. Like we're doing incredibly well. We've got really good people. We're attracting new talent every day, and I think we've got the vision and we're sticking to it, and it's working. And I think it's a great place to be at the minute. And I think with Angel and Ed driving it, and obviously the rest of the team within the agency, I think like it's exciting times. Like I said, like we're a startup agency. There's different things happening every day. We're winning like the winning clients like crazy, which is great. Our pitch win ratio is unbelievable. But that's just down to the people just getting it and just like trusting each other and going for it. Yeah. But yeah, I think there's exciting times ahead for sure with the agency. So I would watch the space. Oh, wow. And if you're looking for a job, come speak to me.
Who are you pointing at?
I'll point at everyone. But Yeah, like we've got a number of different roles coming up within the agency and stuff like that. So we're always open to hearing from good talent and anyone who really wants to get involved with an agency who actually gives a shit.
Yeah, perfect. Where's the best place to find you guys online?
Online, well, God, we're everywhere, aren't we? So like, I think
is it just at HDY Agency? There's no?
Yeah, so HDYAgency.com.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
And you're in, for anybody that's in the Midlands, you're in the heart of the Digbeth, aren't you, in the custard factory?
Yeah, we're on the top floor of the custard factory. We've got a beautiful panoramic view around the city, which is great. So yeah, it's really cool environment. It's full of creative culture, lots to do, lots of people around. It's quieter than the city centre as well, which is quite nice as well. So you get a bit away from all the stresses of the chaos of the shoppers and stuff like that. So it's nice. It's a really nice place to work.
You can escape out the back of the train station as well, can't you? So you don't even need to go into
it, exactly.
Which is pretty handy. So, well, I appreciate that, Paul. I've just realised that we've quickly gone through 50 minutes. A click of a finger. It was a fascinating insight into your story as well as the agency. I think we could go on for hours. I think, and we'll have to, like I say, for next year when we're planning some more themed events. Once we've got through these early phase conversational sort of type pieces, we're looking to sort of really address topics like I said earlier about mental health and other hot issues that we face as people in this industry, not just generic sort of doing it for ticking boxes, to really address the issues about how the pressures of design add weight to that, and as well as the pressures that we put on ourselves, etc. So it'd be great to get you and anybody else that that's that was happy to openly talk about those sort of issues involved, and also have to pop over and get HDY involved in other ways as well if we can. So I really appreciate that. I hope you have a great weekend. Thank you to everybody that tuned in. I hope it was beneficial to you all, and I'll see you again next Friday.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, mate. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Take care. See you.
Bye.